Hello and welcome to Season 2, Episode 2 of the Midwest Gaming Classic Podcast. I'm your host, Jason Garris, Panel Director of the Midwest Gaming Classic. And this week's video podcast consists of American Pinball Barbecue Secret Sauce. And it was the very first panel at the 2024 Midwest Gaming Classic. American Pinball talks about their new game, Baird Barbecue, and the panelists include David Fix and Steve Bowden. And you know what? Enough of me talking. Why don't we get to the video?
First panel presentation, welcome to the Midwest Gaming Classic. I realize we're the first presentation here, so the coffee's still kicking in, right? Were you guys here last night? Did you get to play?
Yes.
All right. Did you play the barbecue game?
Not here in Texas.
In Texas?
Yes.
They don't barbecue in Texas.
No.
No? Okay. All right, okay. We have David Fix and Steve Bowden here to talk about the design of the game. So, welcome.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you for your support in helping us get this thing to work.
Yeah, we had a little technical difficulties to start this morning, but we're ready to rock and roll. So let's get into barbecue and the secret sauce. Steve and I have been working on this for a good period of time.
Yeah. Oh, wow. 3 years?
Yeah, it's got to be about 3 years.
Yeah.
We've been
ever since I came to America, just about.
Yeah. So back notice for everybody to know that I knew Steve Bowden for it's got to be about 15 years.
That's it. Yeah. That's right.
And I knew Barry Ausler for about 20, and I knew these two gentlemen when they were down in Texas trying to make dreams come true, and we talked about that for many time. When things didn't go well in Texas, I called Steve up and said, "You have a lifeline." He knew it. We were proud to bring him on board just around Expo when we launched Legends of Valhalla. And then we were off to the races. We had a lot of team members that we were bringing in. And one of them shortly after that was Barry Ausler, which we talked to in August of the year after Steve started. Barry and I knew each other, and Barry wanted to do a game, which he had been working on many games, but some of them may or may not never see the light of day, but Barry was like, I want to do something. So we came up to a gentleman's agreement, contract kind of thing, put it all together, and also at that time talked to him about, he had kind of shared that his health wasn't so great, so we put in a clause in his contract in which we extend the royalties to his family. It was kind of never done in the industry. So we were happy to, and the best thing is his family didn't even know about it. So we went about making this game. We were all set. He is and was the fastest designer, let's just say, in the industry. He literally had a game designed in 6 months. And I think Steve's going to share with you right now.
Yeah, if I can get the extra large icons, so know which one we're looking at. Which one was one of the original versions? This guy.
Yep, that's it.
Yeah, this was one of the. This one still has some drop targets on the right. Was part of our Baird and I's original experiment was to have drop targets on the right to see if you could sweep them from here and then make a combo up to the saucer up here. Some experiments are incorrect.
Correct.
or will be judged to be changed, so you will see on the game that it is in fact moved from here to the space shuttle position. Those of you who know the space shuttle have played it, you know why it's there. There is a reason why it was moved from there to here. So the implications on that means you have to change this shot, which changes this shot, which changes this shot. So it's a domino effect.
But it wasn't that crazy of changes, but it worked out. So what we did was, Barry had given us this drawing, everything done, and we were going to actually make this up as a whitewood. He gave it to me on Friday. We gave it to mechanical engineering. They started looking at it, and the Tuesday after, literally 5 days later, his wife called me that he had passed away due to complications of his cancer treatment. Steve came wandering into my office.
Yeah, when I got the call, you got the call, processed it, and remained stoic. Okay, gotta go in and tell people what has happened, because I'm fully expecting to talk to Barry about this and other suggestions that I've had, and we were going to work on continuing the design. And once I got the news, after processing what I needed to process, I began to furiously write down everything that we had discussed so I didn't forget anything, and so that I could continue to work on, our vision. Because at that point, I had that oh crap moment, like, oh wait, that means I'm defaulted to game decider now. So even at that moment, it's like, well, okay, I'm gonna need some help. So let me remember this stuff down.
Absolutely, because we were like, Steve, you're the one that has been talking to him since August.
Right.
So, this is a vision that Steve and Barry had come together with the rules and so forth. So the original thought on this was going to be car hop, girls in roller skates, rolling around, malts, shakes, beer, burgers, that kind of thing. Unfortunately, there was already a car hop game, and I already had told Barry that it was, and we live in a day and time now where girls in roller skates might not be looked upon so favorably. But we kind of pitched to him the idea of doing barbecue. And doing a little research, we found that there are 3,784, 82. I keep goofing that up. One of these days, it'll probably be on my tombstone, 3,784, 82. Question mark. Individual barbecue restaurants just in the United States alone. We're talking about mom and pops. We're not talking about chains. We're not talking about guys who have 2 locations or 3 locations. We're talking about just a small little thing. Now, on most of the cooking channels, barbecue is probably one of the #1 shows. There's Guy Fieri. There's all these other cooking shows that have been really featuring on barbecue. And when we pitched it to Barry, Barry says, wait a minute, there's literally more barbecue restaurants around my house than there are McDonald's or Starbucks.
A lot of them he took me to for lunch, so very familiar with them.
So Barry and Steve just set out and started saying, okay, barbecue, let's start working with this. And then they started working on the rules. They started working on the concepts and working on things. As you know, there are no inserts anywhere in this game at this moment in time, because this is a true whitewood, right? That is going to come a little bit later. He had something basic with.
Well, this is the basic car hop version.
Right.
This is because you can see the car and the hop targets here.
Right, and then
you can still let's make this bigger here.
Right. So there you go. There's car and hop.
We got car hop here. We got malt
here, on the top,
and then you have soda down here for the in lanes. And you can notice that we had target here and a target here and a target here to get your mystery. We had the space shuttle locks, and then the third lock being up in the corner.
Correct.
To start your multiple. And the drop target system here. And so that was a little more than preliminary design. Because preliminary design was the first one. But that was
correct.
Then we had this version. And then we started thinking of, okay, how big of a score is going to be? That's when other insert like bonuses and playful like started coming in. But yeah, this is a pretty early one. You can see burgers and fries. We had large, medium, and small fries. Then we had large, medium, and small burgers, which is kind of we were going to talk about that. What does a medium burger mean? So that's not really. So that was going to be one of the other changes I was going to discuss with him about this, while keeping the same flavor of having the 3 inserts, still having rule of 3 here, so that would be easy to teach and design for that.
And then also, if you guys will notice that the spinners already are on the ramps. This is something that I was pushing for with Barry, giving you a reason to hit the ramp. when you hit a ramp, it's back to the flipper. So every time you hit that ramp, boom, it's back to your flipper, right? Now, if it was a way that the ramp is flashing or some reason you're going to spin it faster and you can do combos and continue spinning that spinner, now it's got a clean shot back to the spinner every time. And it keeps that feel and that flow going. And Barry kind of said, yeah, that makes sense. And he loved the idea of doing it because there had only been one game. And here's the trivia question. Anybody know what one game that was ever manufactured that actually had a spinner on a ramp? No? Okay. I'll make it easy. It's actually Spooky Pinball's Dominoes. It's after the thing. It's on the ramp coming down. So it's just a little, But here we had the two ramps and put it in the right spot for some good pitch and moving. So, we also talked about, the locks and where we're going with this. But as we're still going with Barry, I'm trying to remember what else he had. He had a couple other things that he was thinking about on this.
Well, yeah, the Michigan over here, which was changed.
Yes.
Because I was already talking with him about how dangerous this was.
Yes.
So that was a change from where it is now. Where you can notice that the side target that changes the awards is kind of flat over here.
It's a flat shot.
Still dangerous.
Bounce off the side.
But not as evil. Not as evil.
Not as
and
evil.
you hit it more accidentally too, which is good. Like you'll hit it sometimes and you won't even notice it, especially during multi-ball.
So Barry had given us this, and Steve and Barry had already started working on rules and concepts and so forth. So it was right after we had the drawings. Of course, we mourned him. We did what we had to do. We took the drawing and put it in. Ryan McQuaid, one of our game designers, took it and threw it right into VPX. All right, and so we could start shooting it. And we already had started working on building whitewoods and rails and whatnot. And one of the things we noticed was, of course, the drop targets on the right side were at a point that if you hit them, they would
Like trunk up.
it would get stuck. So because it was the wrong way, it was actually leaning into the drop targets. So with help with Dennis Norbin and the rest of the team, and consulting with Ryan and also Sophia Ryan. Don't confuse the two, but Sophia had worked on, who was our chief mechanical engineer, worked on about 5 or 6 Barry games, including Miss Multi-Ball for Dracula. She did
The Doctor Who atomic standard.
Yep, she did the Doctor Who. So she had done a lot of things and was good friends with Barry. In fact, when I was looking for a mechanical engineer for American Pinball, I had called Barry, asking him I needed to find this woman by the name of Sophia Bill, who him and her were great friends and had been for a long time. So he made the phone call and she was on my line in about 45 minutes, and a week later she was working for American Pinball. So she's an amazing woman. She when she says something, it gets done. Okay, so and she can pretty much scope this out. Well, where I'm going down with this is we put it to the team. If we move it, the drop target, would Barry be upset about that, or would he enjoy that? And Sophia basically said Barry would have said yes, let's do this. This makes sense. So this was a consult with the team. We knew we were going to call it barbecue, but we didn't have a name. And then we thought, what better way to honor Barry by calling it Barry O's Barbecue Challenge and dedicating it to Barry himself, as this is his final game. So Barry started working on. We started working on this, putting this together. This is the VPX that Steve was showing you, and then the whitewood started coming together, and we started playing with this, and. What do we got next on the slides? I'm trying to remember.
They're not slides. I can jump over
I know.
whatever I want. There's a whole bunch of different things we got. Let's see what's next. Playful dart. No. Which one is closest to this? I think maybe this one, maybe? We started to put,
Yep, that was close. So, and this is where the first iteration of, bash locks came into play. So as a team, we were looking at this, and when you see Space Shuttle, you see a bunch of these older games. When you put a ball in the lock, it just sits there, and if you hit it, it just doesn't do anything. It just sits there. So as a team, we started talking about it, and Ryan McQuaid comes up with a great idea of creating it more like a teardrop shape. And Dennis kind of fought us a little bit on this, didn't think it, and we said, let's cut it into the whitewood. So we started playing with the geometry, playing with it all, drawing it all up. We came up with a design that created it as a bash lock. So when the ball actually hits it, it rolls back off the switch and then relocks itself. So now it's a bash toy. So now we can make rules that if the balls are locked, you can get it. Now, this is a question we had somebody pose to us yesterday, and I'm going to just say the idea of bash locks was to create a game where we have physical locks that you cannot steal lock balls. Okay? You can't steal them. And that if the next player comes up, the game knows that that ball was locked and would award them the multi-ball. So this way was designed this way. But yesterday we had a question from some people saying, can we turn it on to steal lock balls? So we I don't know. With the group we got here right now, would you guys want to have a way to turn the setting so it goes from tournament mode to steal the lock balls from the other players?
I see a lot of yeses.
I see a lot of yeses. Okay, so that would be a new code update. We were going to talk about it with the team, and we're going to keep doing that. So it may be default to not steal them, but then you can go in and actually turn it on and steal the lock balls, making it a little bit more of a competitive play.
Well, a different form of strategic play here.
Exactly. Yeah,
those of you who haven't played it will notice that when the ball is in there, you can interact with it. It does make a sound, it does make a rumble, it does make a light show, but it doesn't pay you yet. It will pay you to hit the ball. It will pay you to knock it out. It will pay you to put it back in.
Right.
Those second two aren't in yet. So, so if you knock the ball out, the game might have a confusion, right? But the goal is to pay you for those 3 game streaks. Right? So that if you knock the ball out and you have multi-ball, that is your ball to do with as long as you want to. And then when you lose that one ball, you're still in play. Meanwhile, the person who had their ball knocked out didn't lose it. Because when they come back up, the lock's gonna be solid. They can put the ball back in there and get paid for that. Right? So you wouldn't lose that ball. Having a lock steal there would be different implications that we have to talk to in the coding and rules department that I'm thinking about right now on the stage. So, but the point being is that in a future, and a soon-to-be future version of the code, you will hit that bash lock and it will cause a firework award.
It's doing that now.
And it's giving the firework now?
No, not on the screen, but it's giving the light show of like fireworks, and the game actually says fireworks, and it just goes. Giving you that feel, so
that will become more important in the future version of the code. Fireworks has a connection to Barry, for those of you who know Barry.
Yep. He was a prankster. Barry was known. To tell you the story about this is kind of fun. Barry is we call him the gentle giant, quiet, reserved, just hi, how you doing? Oh, you like my games? That's good. Not like, but this was the guy who would say at 2:00 in the afternoon at Williams, open somebody's office door and yell, "Fire in the hole," and throw a whole lit packet of firecrackers in the guy's office. Pow, 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 pow. And then he would just slip down to his office and he'd be doing, and so he'd come down, "Was that you?" "What's that mean? What? What are you talking about?" And he'd sell it every time. He's also the gentleman from one of the owners of the managers at Williams, a good friend, Ken Fidesna, told me that he had to yell at Barry for setting off bottle rockets under people's doors at 2:00 in the afternoon. After they all went out to lunch, he would go over and he'd just put the bottle rocket right under the door. It was closed, light it, it would go zoom, boom, scare the person underneath the desk. And Ken Fidesna said to him, he says, "Barry, I don't know who's doing this. I'm not going to blame you, but just tell the person the next time, please put us at least a little aluminum foil down so they stopped catching the rug on fire. And the next time Ken goes and there's this aluminum foil down on the floor, he only said it to Barry once. He didn't say it to anybody else, so he knew. He knew, but Barry was like, "Man, did you know what they did?" You know, just kind of like he sold it.
So now you know why that is relevant. It's not random.
No, it's not random at all.
It's like the barbecue theme is not random.
No.
Yes. Yes. This is part of our tribute to Barry, along with the other things in the game, which are subtle or not subtle tributes to other Barry games.
Yes.
Right, which is the part I can't joke because I need to excel with this one.
Right.
But there are arguably 11 references to other Barry games in this game. Some of which you have seen.
Right.
Some of which you haven't seen yet because they'll be in future versions like the Wizard mode. Some of which you would have to notice as you play the game because they're in the rules.
Correct.
So, some of which are obvious, some aren't.
So there are some obvious. Are you guys seeing the flyer right now?
Let me expand this version. This is a better version to see it.
Yeah.
So let's go to the first one.
That's pretty blatant and obvious. Anybody see what that? Can you name what game that's from?
Can we see? I know it's kind of cloudy, but this says playfield scoring, and then it has 1.5, 2x, 2.5, 3x, 3.5, and 4x. So what game uses a ramp in the same way? Let's see if I can get a better. Make sure it's a flyer too. Okay. And where's the art?
No idea. No. You know, the best thing is about this seminar is you guys can download it later. Then you can hop in your TARDIS and go back in time,
that's much clearer.
and then you know what this game was used on. Did that help you guys with the clue? Hop in your TARDIS, go back in time. Doctor Who. Very good.
Right. So that is where this. Right. So that is the game that this came from. Yes, in our original design, it was not there, but it is there because it's part of my reformatting of what was there into a Barry tribute. Okay.
Correct.
So this ramp is much harder to hit than this one, which is why this one pays the playfield X.
Yeah.
Okay. It is still repeatable, but it's tough. So it's definitely not a gimme. Another one that's obvious, that's literally right here.
Fire.
Right.
Fire.
Hit the targets, put out a little fire. Right? So
Yeah.
This was a
Fire!
blatant one. Right? This was a blatant one.
And there is going to be a call out in the game, which is going to say, "Save my baby!" Back ribs. So, you know, it's just kind of going to fall into there, you know. So we do have that call out coming for that game. Also, scroll down to the bottom. The chessboard. Does this look familiar to anybody?
The entire board. What does this look like? Ignore the numbers in here.
Yeah, ignore all the lettering.
The 3x5. What Barry game has that? And also can put letters in here.
And numbers.
But it uses letters in that one.
Yeah, yes, he did. And it's spelled S.
It spelled the game that I don't want to say it, but it spells the game.
Yeah.
So
in this case, we say on there, you'll see it say Barry, and I think we also had it say I love Barry, right?
it just says Barry right now.
Yeah. But it originally was from another game that's up a little bit higher with the targets. Does that help you guys? Yeah, Space Shuttle had that grid in the bottom. It would say Space Shuttle. It would actually spell out Space Shuttle on that grid. So we use it to do a lot of saying some stuff, but we also have it subliminally count down on the modes. So that thing all of a sudden goes 9, 8, 7, 6. You don't actually see it. You might not be paying attention, but we have seen people, and we, analyze this. People are saying, why do I feel like I'm running out of time? It's subliminal to them. They can actually see and then when they look down, they go, oh, there's the numbers.
Right.
And it says 0, and it's like, okay, the mode's over.
Right. Because each mode is 60 seconds, but the timer's not up there.
Correct.
We're only running down the last 10 seconds. Right? Because it's like, oh, I'm in a mode, okay, here we go, no problem. All of a sudden, 9, 8, 7. Oh, okay. Let's go. So that is definitely part of it. Other ones are, well, here's another blatant one. It's right in the middle of the thing. Let's put it right.
So Barry's very first game was Phoenix, I believe. So his very first cooker would be the Iron Phoenix, which is what we said on the back of the.
It's not the Iron Phoenix. That is the.
And what Steve's got there, it says Phoenix is one of the original early drafts of the artwork.
Right.
So it was kind of cool.
Let's go to the top here. This one is going to be a little bit tougher to see because it looks, it's more than what's on the Barry game, but it's marrying this and the first version, this together. See, the first one has 4 lanes, right?
4 lanes.
So
4 things.
We kept the 4 lanes, but then we added a stacked lane. So which game has stacked lanes that look like this? I'll just take the third one also. Okay, which game has 2 rows of 3 lanes? 2 rows of 3 lanes like that. Remember that? It is a Barry game. A very
challenging game.
Challenging, yeah. I was gonna say a very tough game.
I can give him a clue, and this clue would be somebody helped him design this. Well, basically laid it out and helped Barry with this, but his name was Roger Sharp. So does that help you guys at all? Roger Sharp's game design, Barry drew it up for him. No?
This was a tough one.
No, not Space Station. But let's put it this way: how many people like fish? Oh, now everybody remembers.
Like strange-looking fish in the yard, right?
Yeah, Barracuda with a double R. But no, there was that double rollover lanes at the top and the controlling. So now this is a little different though that we do it with, correct?
Yes, it's completely the opposite. So in Barracuda, you had to have the top lane lit to like the bottom lane. In this game, you have to have the bottom lane lit to like the top lane. Everything is reversed. Okay, so.
And the left flipper
pushes the top, right flipper pushes the bottom.
bottom.
So it's all flipped. So that when you go back and play Barracuda, you immediately screw yourself again. Like, wait, this is not quite. Yeah, it's not quite. So that was a designer's decision on my part to just make it flip because I mean I don't do well at both games. That's one reason why I'm here because I suck at it. And I like it. It's challenging. So that's one reason why it's here. But yeah, so there is that one. The fixed wheel target is also attached to Phoenix too. So that's also in the Phoenix part. These 2 targets that are in here. Yep. So for that one, the obvious space shuttle and space station reference. What else?
Well, we also have Murphy, Firehouse Captain, Fire, pulling that back in there. Now, the one thing you don't have on this that you can't see is that the slingshots have Barry and the pig riding hogs. Barry worked on Harley Davidson with Williams back in that day, so that's the tribute to there. You don't see it on this because we don't have the slingshot iron.
Right.
There's other stuff on this too.
Now the ones that you're not gonna see on the playfield because they're in the rules.
Yes.
The multi-ball, the way you start not the way you start the multi-ball, but how the multi-ball progresses is from my favorite multi-ball, I believe. I'm trying to think of one you like better, but if you play Jackpot, it's the Jackpot multi-ball. But the difference is, if you play Jackpot, you know how you start at 50 million and it counts up for 50 million, right, to get to the 500 million. On this game, the base value starts at what you put into it. That's your decision. It can be $1 million, it can be 30 million, whatever it is. Like if it's $1 million and it's $1 million, 1.5, 2 million, 2.5, 2, 3 million. If it's 30 million, then 30 million, 45 million, 60 million, 75 million. So that's all on how you risk that. You know, it's basically like, let's make a deal, money. How much do you want to go for it? Because you got to remember not to drain. Like, don't drain because you're going to lose. But if you want to let it ride and keep pushing poker chips to the table, you can really have a turnaround multi-ball and really just break it out. Yeah.
And to help you, the player, make that decision, we brought the playfield screen into play. So now this is not a mirrored screen. This is a second display just for you, the player. So this tells you how much points you have, tells you what you've been earning, tells you how you're banking your shots.
Right.
This tells you how much you're putting in toward your jackpots.
And it's always in your face. So that's what I wanted this here, so that you're always seeing it says multi-ball jackpot, 1 million, all in your face. And every time you make a shot, it adds to the bank. Every time you hit a switch, it adds to the rest of your value, which is like what you're going to add to the bank. So you're looking right at it. So part of it's like, well, I'm at 2 million. My opponent was at 4. Should I go for multi-ball now? And that maybe try to hit more shots, or should I press my luck and keep going? Keep cooking this current recipe and maybe make it worth more, make the current barbecue recipe worth more, cash it in at a higher value, and then try to take over. Because, I mean, I've seen people have like a jackpot of 4 or 5 million and hit like 10 shots versus someone who brings forward a jackpot of 20 million and then going to get 1. Okay, you still gotta do it. You still gotta do it when you go in there. So all that's in your face, like the amount of sauce you have is in your face. The meter, as far as your spicy meter, which is that if you see that meter on the left, that's basically how spicy do you want the food to be, to try to predict what the judges are, because it's the judges at the festival, they're judging your recipes, you know? So it's, what you see on the meter is how spicy the judges want it to be, and you're trying to match it. And so you're trying to keep it on that right place, and while you're doing that, the scoring posts aren't here, but the scoring posts for mild and spicy attune that meter up and down. Okay, so you're looking at that meter, it's like, well, I'm close to the right one. I think I can get it to the right one before I cash it in, but don't forget to not drain, okay? Or I'm just gonna take it right now and just go and cash it out. So. Again, a bunch of risk reward that's inherent in that, risk reward on top of risk reward that hopefully will protect against any blowout games. You know, if someone gets $1 billion, you can always come back from it. That's the
And you're going to be wanting to get your stars, okay?
Right.
So that spice meter falls into that. Your sauce meter, if you have enough sauce in your jar,
every star is like a trophy rating. Like you get
trophy rating.
Right, you get a trophy. Every time you win, you get a trophy. There's 5 levels of trophy, and the secret is 6-1. But there's 5 levels of trophy, right? And every time you do something right, you get a star.
And it'll show up on your player screen in the bottom.
You'll see it. You'll see your report card. Yeah. So you'll see on the screen your big report card, and then on the mini screen you also see the detailed report card of everything you did. You know.
And if you have 1, we go, well, thanks for participating. You got the You Tried award. Okay, so we don't give everybody we give you a You Tried award, and then you get your bonuses though really start stacking up when you get more of the stars.
Right.
Okay, so this may look on the outside as a simple game. It is not. It is in depth. It's player driven. Steve's been writing the rules for this to go into tournament play, but also for the casual player to walk up and just have fun. We have our game tester, Bree Reynolds, who works for us. She is ranked pretty high in the women's.
And she runs, I think, Cincinnati Women's Tournament, I believe, and a few others. So yeah.
So she was
very experienced in the
very experienced. We had her testing this 1.8 billion. Okay, guys. So she put some big money on it.
Because she was able to find a great combo that I'm like, this is like, not only is this legal, not only am I keeping it, this is a natural extension of the rules.
Yes.
And I got to watch it, and I didn't say anything. I'm like, no, I just want to see you do it. And so it didn't involve multi-ball, it involved the barbecue pit targets. And she was able to stay alive, and she was able to get the power up on it, which essentially is another Doctor Who reference. Like, there's a power up on the barbecue pit targets where if you hit one, you get another one. And that's Dr. 1 and Dr. 4 on Dr. So when you select Dr. 1 or 4, you hit a target, you get an additional 1 more. So you have to do something to get that to work. But she did that. And then once she did that, she started crashing the pit targets and barbecue pit targets over and over again, award on top of award on top of award, and she was still alive. Like, how are you still alive? How are you still alive? She got multi-ball. Continue to forget the jackpots. I don't care. I'm just gonna go after the targets. So I was like, yep, I'm keeping it. That works. I'm glad it's there. That it prevents someone from getting blown out, because I just saw you come back with $850 million worth of barbecue pit awards in like 7 minutes. Now, she also had a lot of good defense. Like, she was nudging to stay alive. I'm not saying it was easy, just saying it was possible. Right? So, again, that's what I'm hoping that as we play this, as this gets tested by the public, that we see someone do something, gets $1 billion, and then the person who's behind is able to come back with a different strategy to get that same $1 billion. If I can see that, I am satisfied. If not, then I need to make some changes. So, as far as the rules. Yeah.
So we got about 5 minutes left, and we've been up here talking, but I want to hear from you guys. You guys got questions? You got anything you want to hit us with? Go ahead. We'd love to hear from you. Give you guys the mic to give us some questions. I have some canned questions I will field while we do this. One of the questions I know that a lot of people, misconceptions, they thought this was a reskin of Hot Wheels. It is not. It is, as you can see, and as people have played this.
Obviously, you can see it's not.
It's not Hot Wheels. Okay? A lot of our friends from Williams, good friends of Barry, basically have played this game. Roger Sharp has played it a bunch of times, and he basically said, this is a Barry game. This is definitely a Barry game. So one of the other great tributes, I said this in Texas, I'll say it here, is Steve Ritchie brought out a game last year. Mark Ritchie brought out, Pulp Fiction that last year also, and now Barry Osler is bringing out a game this year. So think about it. These three guys started at Williams as game designers right around the same time, right? And here we are in 2024, and Barry Osler, Steve Ritchie, and Mark Ritchie are still making games, and I give them hats off to them, and many people are really excited about this game. Any questions about Barry O's? Have you guys played it? That's my question.
Please, if you see me, give me some feedback, positive, negative, and neutral. I want to hear all of that because it's how I learn. I have feedback from my own, design. There's stuff that makes me cringe and stuff that makes me happy. So,
But and the funny thing is, Steve will say, come into my office and say, tell me I'm not crazy. Tell me this isn't good. Tell me this isn't. We should change this. And he would go, bing, 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 bing. I said, you're not crazy. And then we took it to the whole team. We did that over and over again. This was a team effort, and we really are thankful for the whole team.
So I played it last night, and I just want to know which statistics on a gun designed the angle from the left ramp to the drain.
Is it bad on that particular one? Because I got killed on a right ramp to the drain on one of the games down there, and I was very surprised. That was the first time, because usually if you half ramp to right ramp, it goes down to where you can drop catch it, and it didn't. I was very surprised at that. So there's one on the left ramp that does that. That does not make me happy.
Two of us were playing it, and it did the same thing.
Can we check the level on some of those games, because some of them are leaning to the left a bit?
We'll take a look at that. Of course, we also noticed that nobody put any of the tilt bobs in them yesterday. So they all been tilt bobbed today, and I noticed that people were. We came in, and they were all shoved around. People were like, I can play this game. I'm like, yeah, you can. You're shaking it to death, but yeah. But we'll double check.
Shoved it about halfway across the floor. Do we have any more questions from the audience?
If not, thank you. Keep playing it. Tell your friends about it. We're excited about Barry Osler's game. It's a true tribute. Check out the site art on the cabinet. There's a lot of other little references we've done. We've hidden a bunch of things. There's a lot more updates coming. In fact, there's been now 3 updates since Texas.
Right.
And we had a Texas update, we had a Vegas update, now we're going to have Midwest Gaming's update. It's available on the download for people to enjoy. Also, Galactic Tank Force here at the show has the new beta code on it, so if you're playing it, you're going to see it play differently, and people are like, wait a minute, this game, this is really fun. It's got the new beta code, which, if it survives this show, which it so far has, it'll probably be available for all the Galactic Tank Force people on Monday. One other little thing I'm going to say about this, I didn't say it, I'm sorry. Barry O's Barbecue Challenge is the first game with our new board system. Okay? Now, everybody's like, oh no, new board system, this is terrible. No. It's backwards compatible. So, for the last year, we've been running these boards also on our Hot Wheels, on Galactic Tank Force, and all our other games. out in public so people make sure it works 100%. So the idea is if you bought a Hot Wheels and say 3 years from now the boards have a problem, you can buy a new board set from us, not very expensive, backwards compatible, plug it. You don't have to do some crazy stuff. Download the new code, your Hot Wheels is back up. So is your Oktoberfest, so is your Legends of Valhalla, so is all the games that we have. So that's good. Thank you guys for coming. Please come up to the booth, enjoy the games, and keep enjoying a Midwest Gaming Classic.
All right, let's have a round of applause.
Thank you.
David Fitz, Steve Bowden, thanks for being here.
And there you go. That's the end of episode number 2 in season 2 of the Midwest Gaming Classic podcast. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. And I just want to remind you, stay tuned to this podcast so that you can see more panels from the 2024 Midwest Gaming Classic Gaming Convention. And you know what? Until next time, take care, stay safe, and game on.